Welcome back to the DFS Sweatshop. I am your host, the DFS Jerusalem, and you can follow me, of course, on Twitter at DFS Jerusalem. Today, we're going to be breaking down last night's 11-game monster NBA slate. What the fuck is another unpredictable, probably one of the most unpredictable NBA slates that we've seen so far after the All-Star break? Uh, I'm gonna hit you with a list. This is a list of guys um, that and I had a really good night tonight. Tripled my buy-in, made myself profitable for the week, erased that huge loss that I took the other night, and I kind of went back to the basics when it came to my research for this slate. I was up until 3 in the morning, looking, making lineups, building rosters, making sure that my actual player pool was tight. I didn't have a huge player pool because when I create these spreadsheets, sometimes that forces my player pool to be just a little bit larger than it normally would be. Just because I don't want to just leave guys off of the sheet if I'm not going to be playing them a lot of times. Like sometimes I did that in the beginning, and guys were like, man, why you don't have him on the sheet? We want to see what his projections are. So it's projection based. But when it comes time to talk about the guys and the guys that I really like, that's what I do. If I like a guy, I'm going to tell you I like him. If I don't, I'm going to tell you I don't. I'm going to live and die with the picks. At the end of the night, I'm going to show you if I lost. I'm going to show you if I made a profit because I want you to be able to gauge if you rocking with somebody that you can trust. The number one thing you got to do if you're in my position, and which is I'm not like any great position. I'm just the dude that goes out and gets the information and tries to bring it back to you. Like I'm no better or no special than anybody else. There's guys in the sweatshop that win way more money than me, are more profitable than I am, are better DFS players than I am. I just happen to be a person that has the time, the dedication to not only play, but get involved on the analyst side, right? So, and the number one thing that we do when we go into that player pricing, and I'm scrolling down and I'm looking and I'm saying, no, I don't like him. Yes, I like him. No, yes, no, yes, no, yes. What I'm doing is I'm building a player pool in my head. And even more important than that, I am canceling out guys that I don't like. If I don't like you, I'm not fucking playing. I don't care what the situation is. I'm not going to play you. But I was forced tonight to do some shit that I really did not want to do. So um, I'm at the barbershop, because I am a barber during the day. I was off from the restaurant tonight. Took my wife to go see a movie called Get Out. Crazy shit. But so I'm getting some stuff fixed with the car, getting that stuff straight. But I'm at the barbershop cutting hair, trying to. I made sure I did the midday mix around 2:30, so I could, adjust to everyone's schedule, make sure everybody got a chance to see it. Some people get off late. Some people can't watch it while I'm doing it, so I have to watch it later. So I made sure I did it early enough to where everybody had enough time to where they can get their question answers and kind of see what I was thinking and what the community as a whole was thinking. And so I'm in the shop. It's getting closer to lock, an hour before lock. News is coming up. And as news is coming up, I'm having to make decisions of, should I pivot? Should I move? The DeJounte Murray's going to be starting. Should I move? No. Jamal Murray's going to be starting. Should I move? Well, I liked them. I had him in a few lineups already. This just solidified the fact that I was going to be, having a solid performance from a guy that's going to be starting as opposed to coming off of the bench. So all of these things are happening, man. Late breaking news. Now, Lawson is questionable. I had him in so many lineups. Now he's questionable. He may not play. So I'm doing little light changes, switching around. Bro, I swear, 2 minutes before lock, I just happened to look at my phone and I see the notification had come through a minute ago that there was going to be no Rodney Hood. Now, I ran about 10 lineups tonight. I had Rodney Hood in 9 of them. I had him in 9 of 10 lineups on DraftKings. I had him in 3 of 5 on FanDuel. So now I have 3 decisions to make. The first thing, how do I alert everybody else that Hood is out? Because he was a core 4 guy. Secondly, how do I change? What do I change first? My DraftKings or my FanDuel? Which one do I have the most invested in? DraftKings, so I'm going to change them first. Then, how the fuck am I going to change the FanDuel stuff if I don't have time? So I am scrambling, bro. And I'm talking about with 7 seconds left. I ended up, after I tried to get the word out, let people know that Hood is not starting, Hood is not playing. With 7 seconds left, I'm on DraftKings and I'm looking. I'm like, yo, global swap. Yes, that's the way. Because I'm panicking. I'm fucking in a panic. Global swap. What do I do? So I swap out, and the first option that I see sitting there is fucking Kent Bazemore, and it says 6:59 on the phone. So I'm thinking, do I scroll and try to find somebody, or just put this fucking dude in? Because whatever Kent Bazemore does, even though I hate this guy, whatever he does is going to be better than the zero I'm going to get if I keep scrolling, don't find anybody, and can't make it back up to get Kent Bazemore anyway. So bang, a global swap, get Kent Bazemore in, which gives me more time to go over to FanDuel to change him out there. I get a lot of Jamal Crawford or whatever. That didn't work out very well. But Kent Bazemore goes out and scores 22 DraftKings points. You are alive. Now, if you remember, we did a Resurrection Thursday. I went down to Atlanta for the game, and I said if Kent Bazemore makes value today, he is will be resurrected, and he did that. In 4 overtimes, they went down there and they smashed my New York Knicks in front of me, in my face. So Kent Bazemore has not been dead to me since right before the All-Star break. So thank you, Kent Bazemore, for all you did for me tonight. You assisted me in tripling up my buy-in, had you in a lot of spots. Did not mean to have you, but you had a really solid game. I definitely appreciate that. And Kent Bazemore, you are alive. You're alive. Thank you, Kent Bazemore. So back to what I really want to talk to you about. And by this process, it is addition by subtraction. I'm going to take you through a list of guys that we talked about on yesterday's show that I said I'm not playing them. First, DeMar DeRozan, I wasn't playing him. Gordon Hayward, I wasn't playing him. Blake Griffin, no. Uh, Dario Saric, no. Robert Covington, no. Giannis, no. John Wall, no. Rudy Gobert, no. Terrence Ross on DraftKings, no. Willie Cauley-Stein, no. Lou Williams, no. All of the motherfuckers was snowflakes, and because they had such high ownership for an 11-game slate, that put the cash line so low that even though my core four plays did not pan out exactly how I thought they would, even though it was a good core, they were good. They didn't all hit 6x, but it was good. It was good. I stuck to the plays that I liked throughout the day. I did not let anything that I heard move me or deter me and take me too far away from my core plays. And for that, the reward there was a triple up on my buy-in. I had to get back to the process, man, and stop trying to roster so many people all over the place, man. I live and die with my tight-knit core group every day because 4 out of 10 slates, we're going to turn a really nice profit. We are 4 of 10. And if you think about it, dating back to right when the All-Star break, that Monday, I guess after the All-Star break, or maybe this is the third. This is the third. So we're right on key. So that means Friday we're gonna get to the money. Saturday we're probably gonna get to the money. So rock with me in the sweatshop, man. I really appreciate all the support and the love I've been getting so far. Let's go ahead and jump into that core four now. It was kind of an incomplete core four because we didn't see Rodney Hood. I found out about it right before lock. We had a lot of guys that were able to switch. Some were not. My apologies to you. I really felt bad about that because anytime you have a guy that I felt that good about just not play, that sucks. That sucks. And I really think that he would have been like that play in the core four if he was, of course, if he was healthy. He would have been that core four to really create that separation for me because I didn't think he was going to be very highly owned anyway. I just didn't. So let's go ahead and jump into that core four. Of course, we know about Rodney Hood. The next guy we talked about was James Johnson. I love the spot that he was in going up against the Philadelphia 76ers. Too bad this game was a blowout, and we didn't see a ton of minutes from James Johnson. But at 6% owned, 6% owned, 5.6K, he goes out and scores 29.5 DraftKings points. Considering the night that we all had when it comes to the scores and the cash lines being so low, that was excellent. I had no problem with that. That was solid. Next guy we're going to talk about is Isaiah Thomas. Now, I waffled a little bit between Isaiah Thomas and Kyrie Irving, and I said, you know what? I'm just going to rock with whoever is seeing the worst of the defense. And I thought, well, when I saw that we were going to see a lot more of Avery Bradley, I said, well, maybe Avery Bradley is going to strengthen that perimeter defense just enough to where it's going to make it a little harder for Kyrie. So that led me to really roll heavy on Isaiah Thomas. And at 15% owned, 8.5K, he goes out and scores 46.5 DraftKings points. An excellent game there from him. And rounding out the core four was my late night hammer. It was CP3, Chris Paul, 18.3% owned. 8.9K was the price on him. He went out and only brought me back 41.5 DraftKings points. But on a night like tonight, if you got a 40 spot from anywhere on your lineup, in your roster, it was good. It was good. And I had no problem with this. This dude had a bad game and had 41.5 points. This is a bad game for Chris Paul. They got the doors blown off of him. And it boggles my mind, how bad the LA Clippers played tonight. It was horrible showing. Horrible basketball we saw from a lot of those guys. There was a point into the fourth quarter where DeAndre Jordan had 5 rebounds. How the fuck does DeAndre Jordan only have 5 rebounds in the fourth quarter of a game? That was crazy. It was crazy. So now that we've went over the core four review for last night, let's go ahead and jump into the feature for players of the night. These are the 4 most talked about guys in the DFS sweatshop, in the Facebook VIP, as well as on Twitter. We're going to start with the Who Dat, scoring all them points over there player tonight. And this guy wins this award again. This is Namia Bielita. The dude was 0.1% owned. Not even 0.1% owned. Nobody fucking owned this dude. 3.2K, goes out and drops 42.25 DraftKings points. That is unheard of. Dude is in the perfect lineup. He's got to be. He's got to be. Excellent game there we saw from him. A lot of it was scrub love because we know Utah Jazz laid down and the Minnesota Timberwolves let their nuts hang all over them. It was a horrible game. Horrible performance from a lot of the Utah guys. The next guy we're going to talk about is the how did I miss that play tonight? And this pains me especially because a couple nights ago, man, I took a shot at one of the larger tournaments, the higher dollar buy-ins. I was like, yo, I'm feeling really froggy. I'm ready to jump. And I got to a point in my roster build where it was Lou Williams or it was Patrick Beverley. And I went with a guy that I felt was more trustworthy and reliable, a guy that relies more on scoring, more than just scoring, to really make his presence felt on a fantasy level. So I threw Lou Williams to the curb and I took a shot on Pat Bev, and he shit the fucking bed. So tonight I was in the same similar situation, except it wasn't Lou Will. It was another guy. It was another guy, and I did not roster Patrick Beverley. And a lot of times you've got to remember you're on a guy. Sometimes the reason why you're on him is because maybe you're just a day early to the party. You like him for a reason. A lot of this for me, since I watch so much basketball, a lot of my roster build comes from, well, when a guy is due. Because sometimes you can look at a guy and say, man, this guy is due. It worked. A case in point was Harrison Barnes. I just felt deep down that today Harrison Barnes was due for a good game. That's exactly what happened. So Patrick Beverley, how the fuck did I miss that? That is the how did I miss that play tonight? 5.3K, 6% owned. Not a lot of people were on him. He went out and dropped 40 DraftKings points in a rout of the LA Clippers. Really solid game there from him. Now let's talk about the heat check play tonight. Now, normally, this doesn't go to the guy that just scores the most points or has the high salary and scores the most points. It usually goes to the guy that fucking balls. And, tonight is an exception because LeBron James went out at 6% on nobody was on this cat. Nobody was on him. I had him in one lineup. That was a Cleveland stack. That lineup did cash. Dude went out and fucking balled. 6% ownership, 10.9K. Brought you back 67.25 DraftKings points. And I believe led all DraftKings scorers in points. Really solid game there from him. The last player we're going to talk about is that one motherfucker who I will not go too hard on because I didn't roster the motherfucker. I didn't like him any fucking way. I didn't like him. I just didn't, and I don't. He's a pleaser guy. I just don't like this game. I don't like the way he plays. I don't like how he be stumbling and fumbling and bumbling and knocking down shots sometimes. Tonight he did not. Tonight, you, Lou Will, you a motherfucking snowflake with your snowflake ass. And for everybody that rostered you tonight, you get a old fuck you from me with your snowflake ass. How the fuck you gonna go out 12% ownership and bring back 11.5 DraftKings points? Motherfucker, you ran off on the plug. You ran off on the motherfucking plug. And for that, I ain't gonna roster your ass again. And I wasn't gonna do it anyway with your old snowflake ass. Now let's move on with the rest of the motherfucking show. Now, we've reached a point in the show where I want to show you my best DraftKings lineup. This is going to be a core 4 lineup at that because, I do this for a couple of reasons. Number one, I want you to know, man, the guys I'm talking about, the guys in my player pool, when we get in those midday mixes, man, and we chop it up, the guys that I am talking about are actually the guys I'm playing. I'm not one of those guys that's going to tell you, hey, man, oh, yeah, you should play this guy, you should play this guy. Oh, this guy's a great play, this guy's a great play. Even if the guy's a good play, I may say, hey, that dude is a good play, man, but not for me. I'm not going to roster him. If you want to roster him, that's fine. But he doesn't fit my roster build because he didn't, and I don't have him. You got to be honesty, man, honesty. That's what I want you to remember. When you think about the DFS Jerusalem, when you think about the DFS sweatshop, I want you to think about this is the place where I can go and get honest fantasy sports talk day in, day out. You can come to the group, wherever you come in the DFS sweatshop, you're going to get honest daily fantasy sports because that's what we do. Fantasy sports talk, excuse me. So let's go ahead and jump into my very best DraftKings lineup. This is one I could. Okay. Where is it? Excuse me, I'm sorry. This is my very best DraftKings lineup. I did not hit the 300 club tonight. This is one that I kind of like, and I took advantage of. They put a cap on entries that you can enter into that 4 point play. Man, I believe the cap was 20 entries, and I maxed out. I dropped $80, put it all in there, and just about all of those lineups cash. So that was pretty solid there. This one was in 4 times in the 4 point play. I had it a few times in the quarter lineup. That's where I make them, and then I graduate them if I really like them. This is the one that I really liked. This lineup was core four all day long, and I was chopping it up with a guy on Twitter, the homie on Twitter. He was like, "Yo, what do you think about Chris Middleton today?" And I said, "Well, if I can know for sure that Chris Middleton is going to get 25 minutes without Michael Beasley, I'm going to be all over him." And as soon as I said that, the report came out. Chris Middleton will be limited to 30 minutes, so I got him in there. So we're going to start this lineup here. Core four guy, Chris Paul. We've got Isaiah Thomas, another core four guy. Also, yeah, Chris Paul, Isaiah Thomas, yeah, in this lineup. And this is when I moved. I wanted to get some exposure to LaMarcus Aldridge, and I wanted to get exposure to the San Antonio game. And when I had James Johnson in this spot, I had 400 left. If this, it was between Aldridge, Serge Ibaka, and staying with Johnson, because once the whole the situation broke in Denver, when we knew that we were going to be seeing Jamal Murray, I moved down off of Rodney Hood right here, and that gave me a little bit more in salary. So I had Jamal Murray, and then I had uh, James Johnson right here, and so I had a little bit extra in salary. So I went up and I paid up for LaMarcus Aldridge. Proved to be a horrible decision. Should have stuck with Harrison Barnes, or even paid up to Serge Ibaka. That would have been a much better play. Dante Cunningham was a player that I kind of liked. He was going to be starting, going to see a ton of minutes. He finished with 27 DraftKings points. Of course, you see Isaiah Thomas in this lineup. And this one finished with 281 DraftKings points. This was good to cash. $20 per entry in the 4K in the 4 point play, as well as I think like $5 in the quarter game. So that was a pretty solid lineup there. My next best DraftKings lineup, we're going to show that one. That was 275. Here we go. This again, another core four lineup. We've got Chris Paul. We've got James Johnson. We've got Isaiah Thomas. Of course, I did have Rodney Hood in this one. But when the Jamal Murray news broke that he was going to be starting, I put him right here, and then I had Rodney Hood somewhere else in this lineup, and I was able to swap out at the last minute once we got that news. So this lineup finished with 275 DraftKings points. I had it in the same amount of spots, 1, 2, 3, 4 in the 4 point play, a few in the quarter games where I made it. So this is a pretty good showing for me. Like I said, we tripled the buy-in. That's always solid. I definitely appreciate that going down that way. So let's go ahead and I'm going to try to roll through a really quick recap of last night's games, because I don't want to get too stuck on that, since we've got such a small slate for tomorrow, and I don't want the show to be, hella uber extra long while you wait for the player pricing and the point totals for tomorrow's 3-game slate. And you know what? These 3-game slates, man, sometimes they can really suck, but sometimes they put us in a really good spot to get some exposure to every good play or every play that we really like on the slate. So you don't have to shy away from it. My suggestion is We normally stick to 10% of our buy-in. If you're really not comfortable with throwing that much, maybe your whole 10% on a 3-game slate, bump it down. Bump it down to about 5%, just so you can, have something to sweat, have something to look out for, and maybe, make a solid return on that investment. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's go just jump into the player pricing. We're not even going to recap last night's games, just because there's only a 3-game slate coming up. It's going to be a day off for a lot of you. I know that. Let's go ahead and just jump into the player pricing for tomorrow. That's what we'll do. Yeah. Plus, it's getting pretty late, and been sipping on the old pipe partner. The wife's in the room. Let's do it. As you can see, little quick slate recognition. At 8 o'clock, we've got 3 games starting. There's also a 2-game late at 9 o'clock. Make a couple of these, stack a couple of these, throw them bitches in the main, see how that works for you. You're going to be taking the game out. This is going to have your lineups narrow as fuck. And a lot of times, you play this complete 3-game slate, and then the games start, and it sucks. So you're like, fuck it, I'm going to play the late. So you play the late outscores the main. Make some lates, throw them shit to the main. Very simple. Let's go ahead and get this opened up. Now, 5 games or less, man, is a stack slate for me. I'm stacking. I'm not cherry picking. I'm not trying to find the very best plays in every game. I'm not putting myself through that headache. But I know that it can be very, very simple to just stack, and especially if you like some of the plays that's on the slate already. So sometimes it can be very juicy, man. So for me, I'm stacking. So let's go ahead and check this out. We're gonna start with the highest salaried guy on the slate. It's gonna be Russell Westbrook, 13.3K. Normally I say fuck no, I'm not paying for that. But on the 3-game slate, you're stacking. You can definitely stack the Oklahoma City Thunder. I like them a great deal. Going to Portland, facing the worst defense against the point guard position. I have no problem with him. Steph Curry at 10K is definitely in play in a Golden State stack because you're not going to see Kevin Durant. He is out. Jimmy Butler is in play. Dame Lillard at 8.8K is a play that I'm not particularly interested in, though. I can look at it some, but I'm not particularly interested in that. You've got the Charlotte Hornets going to Phoenix. I like Kemba at 8.4 in this game. Eric Bledsoe is going to be an interesting contrarian play. He was just in a similar situation against the Memphis Grizzlies and had a really solid game. People are going to see that DVP. They're going to see Kemba. They're going to see Westbrook. They're going to see Curry. And everybody is they're not going to take a look at Eric Bledsoe. And you've got to be contrarian sometimes if you want to make a major dent in those tournaments. So I have no problem with rostering Eric Bledsoe tomorrow. Draymond Green at 8K is definitely in play without Kevin Durant if you can be stacking Golden State. CJ McCollum at 7.3 is a play that I don't really like very much. Klay Thompson, I like him in a stack. Frank Kaminsky, 7.2. The price is up. We're going to see more minutes next game out for Cody Zeller, so I'm not sure I can get with that 7.2. Nick Batum at 7.1. Whenever Frank Kaminsky costs more than Nick Batum, just roster Nick Batum. I'm gonna run a Charlotte stack without Frank Kaminsky. The price is just up too high. That's just too much. Dwayne Wade 7K definitely. Devin Booker is a play that I like against the Charlotte Hornets. We can attack the Charlotte Hornets when it comes to the shooting guard position, and I love Devin Booker to do that tomorrow. He's going to be one of my favorite plays. And so is that going to correlate for me into a Bledsoe Booker stack? Probably not. I would probably take Devin Booker as a one-off in a situation. Vic Oladipo is questionable. I probably won't be messing with him. Yusuf Nurkic is 5.6. That price doesn't appeal to me at all. I won't be stacking too much from the Portland bigs. TJ Warren at 5.5. Yes, give me some of that. Steven Adams is not a player that I'm particularly interested in as well. Rajon Rondo is not in play for me. Enes Kanter, yes, at 5.2. He's going to be seeing the Portland Trailblazers second team hopping up for the bench. A lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm. I like Enes Kanter. MKG is going to make it into my Charlotte Hornets stack, definitely. Nikolai Mirotic, I won't be stacking Chicago tomorrow. I'm going to stack Golden State and hope they just run it up on them. But Nikolai Mirotic is in consideration as a one-off, a cheaper one-off. Al-Farouq Aminu, 5K. I kind of like him as a cheaper one-off. Andre Iguodala, yes, he's going to be a part of my Golden State stat. Definitely. Marvin Williams, yes, he's going to be a part of that Charlotte Hornets stats. Maurice Harkless, I like him in some spots as a one-off at 4.8. Evan Turner's out. Michael Carter Williams is questionable. Allen Williams at 4.4. You got to take a look at that. Because over the weekend, if you didn't have Allen Williams would have took you to the money over the weekend. And we know that Tyson Chandler is damn near out of the rotation. Uh, Alex Len shows so much defensive incompetence when he's out there. Allen Williams is a much better defender, much better rebounder at this point. So I think I can rock with him. Jaja is always in play for me at 4.3. I kind of like him tomorrow. He's going to be a part of my Golden State stack. Cody Zeller, no for me. Robin Lopez, no. Marcus Chris, no. Well, he may be a cheap one-off player. If I got 4.2K left and I've got everybody else that I want, I could take Marcus Chris. Bobby Portis, 4.1 it definitely deserves consideration. Alex Len, 4K. Now, the fact that he's cheaper and he's starting kind of makes me want to look his direction just to be contrarian. Because I think if people see, man, Allen Williams is 4.4, Alex Len is 4K, I'm going to fuck with Allen Williams. But Len is starting. And NBA is like most other sports, man. If the guy that's out there starting starts playing well, knocks his first couple shots down, gets a couple rebounds, chances are the coach is going to leave him on the floor. So I'm going to have some spots where I roster both of them. I'm going to have some spots where I roster one of them. And I'm definitely going to take a shot at Alex Len at some point. Roberson 3.9 is a no for me, but I take that back. We gotta look at Andre Roberson if we're gonna be stacking Oklahoma City because he's one of the cheaper guys on the team. You gotta look at him unless you want to play Domantas Sabonis, and I don't want to do that. Taj Gibson at 3.7, yes, he can be a part of your OKC stack definitely. Alex Abrines at 3.6, only if we know we're not gonna see Oladipo. Jeremy Lamb, yes, he can be a part of the cheaper Charlotte stack. Tyson Chandler is down to 3.5. No. Marco Bellinelli, 3.4, yes. Dougie McBuckets had a solid game out last time. I don't think we see that again. 3.3, I won't be fucking with him. Sean Livingston is not a player that I'm particularly interested in. Neither is Denzel Valentine. Alan Crabb, he is going to see consideration for me as a cheaper one-off for the Portland Trail Blazers. And Brandon Knight is a no for me. Cameron Payne is a no. Jeremy Grant is a no. Ian Clark is a no for me. Isaiah Cannon, no. Jerry Grant, no. Now, the fact that Ed Davis is out, I think you kind of got to look at Noah Vonleh some. I'll let you know when we get to him. David West, 3K, very cheap salary saving option there. I kind of like that. Kevin Looney, no. JaVale McGee, no. Felicio, no. Shabazz Napier could be in play for us at 3K. I kind of like him as a cheaper one-off. If I have 3K left, I can use him. He's a guy that could be the 3K play today. Domantas Sabonis is 3K. Noah Vonleh is 3K now. Ed Davis is out. Nurkic is going to be starting. Noah Vonleh could come off of the bench, see some solid minutes matched up against the Oklahoma City Bigs. I kind of like that a little bit as a 3K salary saving option. Barbosa, no. I mean, this is a 3-game slate, bro. So it's not, the pickings are definitely slim. So let's go ahead and run through the point totals really quickly. And just know that, Friday we've got a really solid slate of games coming up. We're gonna get right back at it. We're gonna get the research. Everything's gonna be right on point. We're gonna roll right into it. And let's go ahead and check this out. The point totals for tomorrow. All right. We're gonna start. I believe the first game on the slate is gonna be the Golden State Warriors going to Chicago Bulls. This is a 219-point total, with the Golden State Warriors giving up 7 points to the Chicago Bulls. Now, Chicago Bulls are a home dog, and for that reason, they kind of get a bump. But I don't have any problem with starting your lineups with Butler and Wade. I don't have a problem with that at all. But I want you to get some exposure to the Golden State side. That's as far as I would go if I've got Butler and Wade. I wouldn't want to roster anybody else because I don't think this is a stackable offense. I really just don't think so. I don't think this is a stackable offense. But if you want to use Butler and Wade or Butler or Wade as some one-offs to maybe guys that can maybe get you 40 points, I don't have any problem with that. On the Golden State side, I think this is a full team stack in order. I think you can stack the Golden State Warriors 5 deep. I'm talking Curry, Clay, Draymond, Jaja, and whatever else guy that they're going to be putting into the starting lineup. Or to play it safer, a guy off of the bench like Andre Iguodala. And these guys are on an incredible 8-game road trip I think this is the third game into that 8-game road trip, so you might want to temper your expectations. Kind of look throughout the day. It's an earlier game. It's 8 o'clock, so I think we should know well before lock if anybody else is going to be resting because we know we're not going to be seeing Kevin Durant. So keep an eye out for that. I don't see this game blowing out completely. I think it's going to be over before it's over, but there's a very good chance that we could see a full allotment of minutes from a lot of the Golden State starters. The next game I'm going to talk about is the Charlotte Hornets going to Phoenix to take on the Suns. This is a 218-point total, with the Charlotte Hornets giving up 3.5 points. The Phoenix Suns, again, they're a home dog. They're a home dog, and I like home dogs. I like that, and it is a few parts of this game that I really like. I know one guy that's going to be in a lot of my lineups is going to be Devin Booker, because we know what you can do to the Charlotte Hornets from the shooting guard position. You can torch those guys. So I really do like Devin Booker. I think I'm going to have some TJ Warren in some spots. I have no problem with Marcus Chris or Allen Williams and or Alex Lynn. But I think the only ownership I'm gonna have of a guy like Eric Bledsoe is when I'm trying to be sneaky contrarian, because I don't see him being rostered heavily on a slate like this. I just don't see him. I think out of all of the high dollar point guards, he's probably going to be the least owned. I really do believe that. On the Charlotte Hornets side, Kemba, good spot for him. He's been ignoring his own home road splits and been balling out on the road some, so I have no problem with him. Nick Batum, a player that I kind of like. I don't have a problem with you starting your rosters off with Nick Batum and Kemba. I will not be on Frank Kaminsky. As a matter of fact, I'm going to shift the focus to MKG, maybe a little Marvin Williams when I can. I think some guys off of the bench you can definitely look at are going to be, Brian Roberts, the point guard. You're going to be able to look at a guy like Jeremy Lamb, maybe some Marco Bellinelli. So just a few guys to look at on the Charlotte side. There's definitely a few good guys there. Next game I'm going to talk about is the Oklahoma City Thunder going to Portland to take on the Trailblazers. This game is probably going to garner the most total ownership, just because you've got Dame, you've got Russell Westbrook, who's been playing fairly well lately, been playing lights out over the last couple of games. You've got CJ McCollum, who a lot of people like. I'm not going to be on him at all. I probably will have zero CJ McCollum tomorrow. You got Yusuf Nurkic, who's still fairly cheap. I already talked about liking Noah Vonleh since Ed Davis is not going to be playing. Al-Farouq Aminu is going to be a guy a lot of people like. I think Crab can be a nice salary saving option if you get down to your lineups and you got everybody you want and you got 3.4K laying around. You can go ahead and grab a guy like that, 3.2K, excuse me, in your Oklahoma City stack. I mean, you could go 5 deep with this stack as well. The only guy that I probably would not press to get in my Oklahoma City stack is going to be Steven Adams. And it's not because I don't like, him tomorrow. It's because I don't think that I think that with paying up that much, 13.3K for a guy like Russell Westbrook, I think Steven Adams is still priced up to the point to where it's going to be hard to really stack the Oklahoma City Thunder, and they're going to be playing pretty deep. And you can look at guys like Cantor. You can look at Taj Gibson, who they traded for a reason. And I think that is, plus those guys are probably going to see a little less ownership because they're not actually starting. But we know Cantor is a really good point per minute player. We love to see him against the other teams, second teams. So I have no issue with that tomorrow. So like I said, we've got a 3-game slate tomorrow. If you want to take a day off, tomorrow will be a really nice day to take off. Sorry about not doing a recap of last night's games, but we've got a 3-game slate. I don't want to make you sit through a whole show of recaps just so that we can break down this 3-game slate. Probably will not be a midday nip mix tomorrow because the slate is so small, but I will be in contact with the whole fam all day long. I'm always accessible. I'm always reachable. Some of you got my number. Hit me up. Do whatever you need to do to make sure your lineups are right where you want them. And remember, stacking. We are stacking. We get into the stacks tomorrow. We're going to be releasing those stacks and correlation sheets on the website. We're also going to be jumping into some PGA stuff tomorrow, man. The homie Coach Stewart put out a really solid PGA article. If you're in the sweatshop VIP, go ahead and check that out. I should get it uploaded to the website at some point. But hey, man, thank y'all so much for all of your support of the DFS Sweatshop. Remember, if you would like to support the show further, because you are supporting the show now, but if you want to support the show further, it's very easy to do. You can look at that box over there to the right. you're going to see it says support the show. Go ahead and click that box and support the show. Also, if you wanted to cop some DFS Sweatshop swag, we have a link in the comments below. You can definitely do that. Also, if you want to support my personal PayPal, it is simmonsmaurice95@yahoo.com, or you can become a full-fledged member of the DFS Sweatshop by visiting the website at www.dfssweatshop.com. Go ahead and check that out. And the number one thing that I want you to do in the sweatshop is keep it 300.